Welcome back to Squadding Quads, and today we are reviewing and looking at the Radiomaster TX15. This is a really nice new radio from Radiomaster, and it answers most of the critics that I've had about the Boxer. However, it isn't quite the perfect radio I'd hoped it to be. There is, in my opinion, one thing that's holding it back. And we're going to get into what that is as we go through the video. Grab yourself a drink, grab yourself some snacks. It's not going to be a massively long video, but we're going to dive deep and we're going to have a look at the new Radiomaster TX15. This is the Radiomaster TX15. We are going to have a look at this. Very impressive radio. But the question is, will it take over my favourite radio? This is the TX15 MAX in red with AGO2s. Will it overtake my favourite radio, the HelloRadio? Honestly, I don't know. But we're going to find out right now, here on Squadding Quads. Now, this camera and lens combo may be a little bit too tight, but I think having a look really close up initially will help us. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a battery in this. I suspect not. But first things first, let's feel these AGO2s. They feel quite light. They feel quite precise. Yeah, they feel quite nice. We've got a carbon effect on the shell, and obviously we've got red anodized buttons here. And the creme de la creme is, of course, going to be that colour touchscreen. Now, around the back, we've got the grips, we've got a JR bay, obviously we've got a holder, we've got a foldable antenna, USBs at the top. Before we turn it on, let's have a quick look at the switches. So we've got a 3 position there, a 3 position there, 3 position there, 3 position there. You've got your rotary dials here, you've got a 6 position switch here, and you've got a latch in and a momentary there. If I just move this up so you can actually see. Now, this is going to be a very basic affair when it comes to the screen. As in, by basic, what I mean is it's going to be the same as all other HTX radios. So you can add on things that you want. We'll install things like the drone finder, Lua script. We'll add on Daniel Barris's widgets as well. Something I've been threatening to do on the channel for a very long time because I really, really like them. What is my initial impression then of this TX15 before I even fly it or do anything? Well, the colour touchscreen does seem a lot brighter than the jumper one. Straight away, even under these studio lights, I can see a difference. The AGO ones, I could probably do with tightening them up a little bit. Now, can we change these LEDs? I don't know. I know nothing about it, so I don't know if we can actually change these or not. It feels really nice in the hand. These little bumps on the back feel really good from a thumber's perspective. Whether they feel the same from the perspective of a pincher, possibly not. But from a thumber's perspective, this feels lovely. I do like that screen. I like those LEDs, but I would also like to be able to change them because I don't... If they're just going to sit there as a rainbow LED, I mean, it's nice, but I'd probably prefer something a bit different if I'm totally honest. But like I say, that said, beggars can't be choosers, and it's nice. I like it. Everything feels really, really nice. The question is, will it overtake the HelloRadio V14 as my preferred radio? Well, I'm going to need to fly it before I can answer that, so let's not get into that right now. Let's get it set up. Let's have a look at the spec, and let's take it further and go and fly it ultimately. But that's the initial unboxing and sort of first look, as my initial sort of, ooh, what do we think as we got it out? Because I think that's always going to be the barometer, isn't it, as to what you think of something as soon as you sort of unbox it and take it out. So we're going to demo the new Radiomaster TX15, and I understand that me demoing it is not going to necessarily answer some of your questions, but if you've got bigger hands and you want to know, is this any good for me, this might help. Now, I'm fairly sure a minute ago I heard the tractor on the field. I'm not sure where it's gone. Right, okay, so what do we think? Well, I think we've got somebody coming over there. It feels really nice in the hand. As somebody who's really fallen in love with the ergonomics of the HelloRadio 14 recently, I figured it would take something pretty special to tempt me away, but this does feel like it's tempting me away, I've got to be honest. Just going to move away while that person goes past the tree. Feels nice and precise. the AGO2 gimbals are a lot nicer than plastic gimbals. Don't necessarily think they are as nice as the AGO1s. That's not to say that they're bad, I'm not saying that in any way, shape or form. That person's walked up to the tree and is now walking away from the tree, I've been informed. So we're just chilling in the air at the minute. One thing I can say is, obviously we can hit quite precise moves with it. But can you do that with a cheaper radio? Yeah, absolutely. Is it nicer to have something that's got nicer features and that feels that little bit better? Yeah, of course, absolutely. I don't know where that tractor's gone. It's cut here, look, you see the line where it's cut there, and then it's vanished. Strange. It does feel very nice in the hand. And it does give you the confidence that you have a little bit of precision. But if you're happy with the radio you've got, then I'm not saying it's going to make you a better flyer, in the same way that adding AGO1 gimbals to the Boxer didn't make me a better flyer. But it's definitely extremely nice. And if you was to hand me this or the HelloRadio and say, right, you can only fly this today, I wouldn't mind either. But like I say, I appreciate watching me fly with it isn't necessarily going to answer as many questions as what we've answered in the studio, but at least it gives you well, it gives you something, doesn't it? Because being just studio based is all well and good, but at least this way you can sort of see something else as well. I'm pretty sure we just hit a branch then. This is the Spider Sauret, for anyone wondering what we're flying. Great drone. Can't wait for you to all get your hands on this on October the 15th as well. Fantastic. This is a brilliant combo as well. So that's the Radiomaster TX15, and we're going to land now and we'll come back and we will... Not yet, give me time, I will do, I'm sure.
So we're a little bit late to the party, but here we have the brand new Radiomaster TX15 next to the Radiomaster Boxer. Now I have most Radiomaster controllers and quite a few jumpers as well, and we'll compare them as we go through this video, but there's a couple of things first of all that I wanted to look and talk specifically about. Number one being that the TX15 is essentially a Boxer with a colour touchscreen. Now this is the Max Carbon version in red. It looks really nice. This was actually a standard Radiomaster Boxer when I got it. I've since put the AGO ones in and obviously put the metal buttons in myself as well. And I love it. I think it looks brilliant. And from my hands, for a very, very long time, nothing came anywhere close to this radio. However, I do think that this has got a few things going for it that this doesn't. But first things first, we're going to take a look at one of the standout features of this radio is its lightning fast processor. Now let's make sure that all the switches are in their natural position so we don't get any switch warning errors. And we're going to turn them both on at the same time.
Welcome to HTX. Welcome to HTX.
That's a lot quicker, isn't it? Now, all things considered, this has to boot up a colour touchscreen. This has to boot up, obviously, an LCD screen. But this does have a lot more features in it than this does as standard. And the fact that it boots up so much quicker says a lot about it. I'm just going to turn this off because I do have a module in the back of this and it's going to make a bit of noise. So straight away we can see that the claim of a lightning fast processor is clearly, it's got merits. Now let's have a look against the jumper. Some may therefore argue that the more natural comparison in this video would be for the Jumper T15 and the Radiomaster TX15 to go head to head. So that's what we're going to do. We'll start with the speed test.
Welcome to HTX. Welcome to HTX. Disarmed. Metal warning. Switch warning.
It's a little bit quicker. Well, it's quite a bit quicker, let's be fair. You can probably see on the studio lights or on the camera under the studio lights that this screen is slightly brighter than this. Where this actually excels is outside. This looks a lot clearer than this does outside. So that's another win to the Radiomaster. But this is actually a bigger screen than this. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Now this, again, very similar form factor. We still don't have those CNC gimbals that we spoke to Jumper about a few times last year. So this radio sort of, it wanted to be my personal favourite, but without those CNC gimbals, I just had better. I had the Boxer, I had the HelloRadio, and I just had better feeling controllers. Although it's a nice size and it's got a colour touchscreen, I just had ones that felt a little bit better in the hand. So a nice little quality of life feature that we are seeing with the newer radios, and including this one, is we don't have the two USB ports like we do on the Radiomaster. You've got one at the top and then you've got one at the bottom for charging. On this one, it's all done via the same port here. So you can charge it, you can program it, you can use it in the simulator, and you can copy files over to it, all using this one USB port. It seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? But it's only a relatively recent thing that's been happening, but that really does help, I think, just move this forward into a better position. Now, these buttons here are programmable, RGB buttons which are programmable. So that's also a nice little feature, a nice little touch that also helps just make it stand out from the rest. Similar to the HelloRadio, you can see there's a little hole here, and this little hole is actually a microphone, so that potentially Radiomaster will implement voice commands and voice controls in the future on this. Obviously this doesn't have it, and I think only this and the HelloRadio currently have it. You've got shoulder buttons up here, which at the minute we've got one latching and we've got one momentary. There are optional extras that you can buy here, and you can replace these with a 3-position switch on each side if you want. So that's also a nice little feature for pilots who would like something like that. For me personally, I use that as my pre-arm and then that as my arm, or I could even use that as my arm. Whichever one you want, whichever works for you. But as it stands, I don't necessarily need 3-position latching switches here, but it's also a nice to have at the end of the day. It's better to have it and not need it than not have it and wish you had it. When it comes to the switches, each one of these is a 3-position switch. You've got a 6-position switch here, and obviously you've got your pots here. Really simple, really straightforward to use, and lots of switches for lots and lots of options. We are getting more and more features built into Betaflight now, so we are potentially using more and more of these switches. We're doubling up on some of the features, putting some of the features together into one switch, but also having them on separate switches. So it's really good to have that level of expansion. You've got a foldable antenna here as well, and obviously a headphone jack as well. So you can also set up a special function as well, because it's got a gyro built into it. So you could potentially, if you wanted to, I don't know, if you run out of switches and you wanted to know how long's left and you wanted to call out, you could just tilt your radio in a certain way. You could, if you wanted your flaps down, if you're flying fixed wing, you could tilt it forward for flaps down and flaps up and all that sort of stuff. You know, the world is your oyster. So that's the majority of the features covered. It does also have an onboard 4GB flash memory. Now, the files and the stuff that we put onto these radios are actually relatively small. So a 4GB onboard flash is going to last you for the lifetime of this radio. As long as it obviously doesn't fail, then you're absolutely fine. But if it does fail, the great thing is that this also has an SD card slot. Now, if you put an SD card into this, it will disable the onboard flash.
But like I say, if anything worse was to happen in the future and it was to fail for whatever reason, at least you're not then stuck. It's not a case of one or the other. So that's a really great redundancy built in there by Radiomaster. And I think the majority of this radio has been designed really, really well. And it's difficult to actually find a fault with it. I got this for around about 150 UK pounds. And this is for the Max version. So we've got the AGO2 gimbals and we've got the CNC metal buttons. As a comparison, the AGO ones in this cost me £110 and the metal buttons in this cost me £60. So just the upgrades to the Boxer cost more than the whole radio of the TX15. And which one do we prefer? Let's be honest about it from our conclusion now. I've got big hands. There's no questions about the fact that I've got big giant shovel hands. So which radio feels the best? Well, let's do this now on camera. So I'm a thumber, as you guys will know. That feels really nice, even now with all the other radios that we've. But this, we've got a couple of ergonomic grips here where you can put your fingers, and those grips are actually, they make it, and the way the radio sort of, let me just try and get this on camera for you so you can see. So the way the radio actually just shapes and slides off a little bit there for your thumb is also really, really good. So you've got a thumb grip and you've got a finger grip there. Now from a thumber's point of view, that's brilliant. From a pincher's point of view, you could also put your other finger like that one there. But from a thumber's point of view, this is really, really good. Now, the AGO2 gimbals. Okay, so we've talked about everything we like. I actually probably prefer how this sits in the hand, to be fair. Yeah, I think I probably do actually. Now this I believe to be one of the most unconventional face-offs ever. Let's perhaps move them around the other way a little bit so we've got less glare. Okay, let's first of all do the speed test.
Welcome to HTX. Welcome to HTX. Good morning.
So it's not actually massively slower. It is slightly slower, but it's not as slower as the other ones. This is a newer radio though, so that would probably explain why. And from an aesthetic point of view, obviously we've replaced this with a clear case, which does look really nice, don't get me wrong. And we've got an OLED screen, which again looks really nice. But overall, the Radiomaster probably wins from aesthetics. Where the HelloRadio wins is how it feels in the hand. This just fits my hands perfectly. And as I mentioned before, the Radiomaster actually fits really, really well. But this just fits perfectly. And there is another issue when it comes to the Radiomaster anyway. And that is, these gimbals, I think, are significantly better than these gimbals. So I actually think these are better. These are the R9s, and I actually think these are actually probably a little bit better than the AGO ones. And that's why I've been flying this radio, for so long and so often, because it just, first of all, it fits in the hand nicely, and these gimbals are lovely. It has a great aesthetic to it as well, don't get me wrong, but I think this is overall nice. If you see them both side by side, in fact, drop a comment down below now. Looking at them both side by side like this, if you saw them in a store and you thought, which one should I buy? Which one would you pick? Be honest about it. I think you'd probably pick the Radiomaster. And that's not a bad thing because it's a brilliant controller. But the HelloRadio, I think, edges it on ergonomics and gimbals. And again, it comes back to that point though. If you could only pick one up and take one out flying with you, which one would it be? And if I'm honest, I can't separate these two. In the past week, I've been flying the Spider Soarer along with the redacted drone that I can't yet tell you about. I've been flying the Spider Soarer using this. I've been flying the redacted drone using this. Now people might say, well, you fly them on the same one, but I wanted to fly one back to back and see how they feel. And honestly, again, it's paper thin between them. if you handed me either one of these in the field and said, right, you need to fly with this, I would have absolutely no problems with either one of them. So again, it comes down to ergonomics and what you prefer. Do you prefer something that's got nicer gimbals and feels slightly better in the hand, but this has actually narrowed that gap quite a lot? Or do you prefer something that looks better and that's a little bit easier to use with that colour touchscreen? And ultimately, that's the choice that you're going to have to make, because I can't make that choice for you. I can only bring these videos to you and show you what the differences are. How you then choose to make a purchase or whatever you do is entirely based on yourselves. I've shown you the differences. I've shown you some of the good things in this. I've got linked videos down below as well about how to set it up so that it does this. So we've got it set up so that each switch will talk to us, and we've also got... So again, we've got a video there detailing that, and if you need to set that up and you're not sure how to do it, that video will show you how to do it. Brilliant radio. And like I say, if it was handed to me in the field, I'd have no problems. If I had a limited budget, I think the cost of this is probably going to be really, really difficult to turn down. I think the HelloRadio has actually come down in price quite a lot since it was originally launched, but I think ultimately this would probably edge it. Now, I am going to leave a link in the description down below to both of these. There will be affiliate links. If you choose to buy either of these, and you'd like to support the channel, it costs nothing to use those affiliates. You won't be charged any extra, but it does help out the channel. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you choose to go away and use a different link, that's also absolutely fine. It's not a problem whatsoever. But if you want to help support the channel, the links are there for you to do so. Now, just before we go, for anybody that saw the live stream at the weekend, I'm looking at creating a community mega pack of amusing voice prompts for HTX radios. Let me show you an example. And we've also got this one. If you've got any suggestions on funny voice prompts that you would like including in this mega pack, it will be completely free to everybody. I'm going to record it myself, edit it, have all the files in the right order and the right format, put them all in a zip file and upload them for you, and then you can just use them at your will. But if you've got any suggestions of any voice lines, we've got quite a few suggestions coming in so far, but we do need more. Drop them in the comments down below. We'll even feature the best ones in the community spotlight for the next video. But that has been a review of the Radiomaster TX15. And if you've got any questions, as always, please do drop them in the comments down below. I think Radiomaster are onto a massive winner with this, but do let me know what you think. Peace out.